Let's talk more of those numbers with Wayne Mccurrie from FNB Wealth and Investments. Thank you very much, as always, for your time, Wayne. You heard in my intro mentioning there that the week has been started off by the JSE on a strong footing. Some of the big contributors here we saw were your resource stocks as well as your financials. Your thoughts on today's movements?
Well, look, it was a good start to the week. Thank goodness for that. I mean, we've had some tough days over these last couple of weeks. And that's really related to the overseas markets in the last 2 days seem to have calmed down a little bit. Unfortunately, I don't think the market uncertainty is actually over, but at least in the last few days, it's been quite reasonable. It hasn't been bad at all. And of course, the rand strength helps the financial shares, and maybe some settling down of commodity prices also help the resource shares.
No, absolutely. Wayne, let's move on to some company news now. And I want to start with Steinhoff. Now, they are seeking leave to appeal a decision that was made by a court to allow investigative journalists access to that 3,000-page report, forensic report on the corruption that happened within the company. They don't want any of that information to come out, Wayne. And surely this is problematic because we have to see accountability. And one of the ways that could be done is what's found in that report.
Yes, look, I think it's very difficult to actually come to a decision about Steinhoff and everything, what happened in Steinhoff, without getting access and full access to that report. But I do understand the company's viewpoint as well. It's their own personal report. They paid for it. They have full proprietary rights to it. And so I suppose it's up for the court to decide whether it's in the public interest or not for Steinhoff to actually come out and release that report.
No, absolutely. And then we had some updates, one of them being Tsogo. Obviously, shareholders very happy with what Tsogo had to say in terms of what their earnings are going to be looking like. That share price was over 11% in the green. Your thoughts on what's set to come in from Tsogo in the form of results, Wayne? Do you think that they come from a low base, given what we've seen they've gone through because of the pandemic?
Well, they've had a terrible time, as it anyone in the entertainment business has just had the most awful 2 years. So it's very good to see that their earnings have bounced back nicely. And it's also very pleasing that it beat market expectations quite enormously, hence the big rise in the share price. And, maybe people are now getting back to normal and actually going out and doing things and going to entertainment venues, etc., because all the artists, anyone involved in entertainment or leisure have just had a terrible time. So it is very rewarding to see that, actually.
No, absolutely. What was also quite positive on the South African front anyway was Barloworld's numbers that they posted, a solid recovery that's happening here. But there's still some issues abroad because of those geopolitical events that we're seeing unfolding, Wayne.
Correct, yeah. I must admit, I went through the Barloworld results in quite some detail. And initially the market wasn't all that worried about the results. I thought they were reasonable, but later on in the day, share price got hammered a little bit. And to be honest, I didn't quite understand why. I mean, we all know they've got big exposure to Russia, and they've been there as long as what I can remember. And obviously that's negative, but I thought that was really discounted in the price. So personally, I didn't see any reason why the market marked the share down as much as what it did based on those results.